Hey, what's up, everyone? Sorry I'm late, so I started the intro a little bit early. My name's Grant Cohn, co-host, Coach Johnston. How you doing, Coach?
Doing great.
Niners just finished day 8 of practice, and Kyle Shanahan dropped a little bomb. He's having such a great time, kind of just fooling with us, because he knows, like, from his perspective, he doesn't have to say anything. And the stuff he does say can really be meant to confuse us. So he says some truth, sprinkles in with a lot of confusion, and gets people all worked up. So today he said that the Niners are going to use 2 quarterbacks this year. He's like, yeah, we're going to play Trey. I mean, doesn't mean he's going to be a starter. Doesn't mean he won't be. Doesn't mean he's going to be the starter, but there will definitely be packages for Trey Lance. So essentially they're going to use a 2 quarterback system this year. Buy or sell that. Do you think that's going to happen?
I think I'm still on the. I think Trey's going to start week 1, so probably no. Me too. But if Jimmy is starting, then Trey will be packaged in. But I think that what this can open the door is, like, since Trey's maybe been playing well and Kyle's getting a little antsy, maybe he wants to start putting him in with the ones, and he doesn't want to answer your questions and be like, oh, Trey's in with the ones. Well, yeah, we're going to sprinkle him in. We're going to sprinkle him in.
It's not a competition. We already told you it's a package we're trying to prepare, and we need to get Trent Williams reps.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, I think people should understand is, like, Kyle and those coaches are as excited or more as you guys all are. We all
They're just
are.
not saying it. They're letting us say it. Yeah.
After practice, when they're sitting in the coaches' room, they're like, did you see that freaking throw? Like, did you see that? Did you see that? Like, yeah, that's them.
They're not
right
like,
now.
Hey, we're going to need to see it 80 more times for it to count.
Yeah.
No, they're very excited too. It seems to me that the narrative, I like tracking Kyle Shanahan's phony narrative. At first he was like, hey, man, this is Jimmy's team. No rookies taking Jimmy's job. Sure, we bought in Trey Lance. He's for the future. He's got a lot of potential. This year is all about Jimmy Garoppolo. To now, like a week later, yeah, we're going to use a 2 quarterback system this year. We're going 2 quarterbacks. It's going to work. Trey's that good. Like, that's how much he's impressed. And it seems to me that once you're already committed to once you've already gone 2 quarterback, you're open to that. Then it's just, I mean, you're one bad throw, one bad half away from Garoppolo pulling him entirely and going with the kid.
Yeah, they're just letting Trey do it. And, it's the safe way to go. I mean, hedging their bets. Like, Jimmy Garoppolo is helping them hedge their bets in case Trey was a failure. And it looks like he's not. But in case then keep Jimmy around. But by all indications, Trey's real, and he's going to be capable of playing. I mean, it'll be really interesting to see a week from now in the first preseason. Does Kyle hold Trey back? Is he just like letting Trey dink and dunk, or is he like let him rip? Like, if he lets him rip, then you know where Kyle's going.
He's trying to make a statement. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Behold your new quarterback. You're going to love him. So, yeah, I guess I don't buy this 2 quarterback thing. They might do it for a game, maybe 2. But this just means that I think it's clear to me that Trey Lance, as long as he plays well in the rest of camp and preseason, he'll be starting no later than week 3, most likely week 2 or 1.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just going to maybe just slow play it a little bit, like the way that a lot of teams do. I kind of don't get it. I think NFL teams are a little too conservative here. Like, any other position, you take a guy top 10 and he looks good in camp, you just play him. But at quarterback, you'll take a guy top 10 and he'll look great in camp, and you'll be like, I don't know. Like with the Bills, they had Josh Allen. And they're like, I don't know. Why don't we start Nate Peterman week 1? It's like, what does that do for you? Or the Chargers last year when they had Tyrod Taylor. It's like, let's just wait on Justin Herbert. Why?
It's such an old school thing. It's an old school philosophy. Like, oh, the quarterback's got to sit. Quarterback's got to sit. But now with, like, the development that's happening from a very young age, like back then, like, back in, let's say, Montana's years, the offensive on the lower levels from high school to college were not as advanced as they are now. Like,
I believe Joe Montana was running the option a lot.
Quarterbacks were throwing in high school, were throwing like 4 times a game. Like,
That's right.
you know, if you you know, then in college it was like 20. You're like, wow, like he threw 20 times, you know.
I think he completed like 50% of his throws at Notre Dame. It wasn't a sophisticated passing offense there in the 70s.
Right. And then you got to the pros, and then you got to Walsh, who developed that sophisticated passing offense where it was short throws, timing and all of that, which
No one had done that before.
right.
Yeah.
It's all in the present NFL right now. And it's seeped down. It's all on the lower levels. It's on
Right.
my level. It's in college. So these kids are all armed with that, and they're trained at a younger age. And on top of that, I've discussed it on your channel multiple times. I think it's a lot easier for the quarterbacks now because of the open middle field, and you can't hit them and all of that. So it just makes for this perfect storm of like, yeah, these kids are ready. Like, and then they're starting younger on, you know, in the college levels too. Like this all happened too on the lower levels too. Like, oh, you can't play a freshman. Like, you can't play a true freshman. Like, that's crazy.
Right. Yeah.
And
for these bogus reasons. If he's good, he's good. If he gives you the best chance to win, he gives you the best chance to win. So
yeah, you're not gonna.
I'm just curious to see if Kyle is that stodgy. Like, are you gonna start your second best quarterback week 1 just because he's older?
Yeah, and on the flip side of it, it's like it seemed to me the new age thing is like if he ain't got it within the first year or two, like get rid of him. Just move on.
It's not a developmental league, and the difference between college and the NFL in terms of scheme is not big. So a lot of guys have success right away. If you don't have success right away, it's probably because you're not going to have success. That's why everyone gave up on Josh Rosen. And maybe they were right. God, he's so disappointing in camp. We can talk about that later, though.
And I think if you look at a situation like Miami, that's why I think Miami is preparing in case they have to move off of Tua.
True.
You know,
he did not look good last year.
Yeah.
Okay. Jamal says, appreciate the coverage. Thanks, Grant. We go to me step closer to Trey starting sooner than later. I think I understand what you mean by that. Thank you. I appreciate it. Jamal and I went out to dinner a couple weeks ago with Vish. Had a great time. Went to the Star in Oakland. Anyway, Curtis says, Shanny said 2 QBs, but did not specify which 2. We are assuming it's Jimmy and Lance. But it could be Lance and some other backup quarterback. Wink, wink.
It could be Jimmy and some other backup.
Imagine taking Lance off the field to get Nate Sudfeld some reps. That would be fun times. Why rush Trey to start when you have a quarterback on the roster who can take you to the Super Bowl? Trey is the shiny new toy, but Jimmy is proven already. Okay, let's talk about Jimmy Garoppolo. Do you want to answer that question first?
Yeah, I think there's this like overriding notion that with the Jimmy and all, like just because a quarterback took you to a Super Bowl doesn't mean they're good. There have been
Rex Grossman went to a Super Bowl.
Right.
He was 13-3 that year too.
Chris Chandler went to the Super Bowl. Like, how awesome is Chris Chandler? Amazing, right? Hall of Fame guy.
How many guys go to the Super Bowl, lose, and never go back?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then like just because like listen, I do believe you can measure, you know, a certain I do think wins do count for something for quarterbacks, and I think I think there is some sort of there is something that you can't, that's not a measurable thing that with quarterbacks, leadership and a presence, something that Tom Brady really has. But at the same time, you know, all the other things matter too. Like statistics and what they do actually on the field do actually matter.
Yeah. And like Jimmy's win-loss record shows that he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. You can win with him if you put the right things around him, but that doesn't mean the Niners are all of a sudden going to not be able to win with a quarterback who's way more gifted and talented and better. Why that? I mean, how's that? We could agree that Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard weren't as gifted and talented as Jimmy Garoppolo. That's part of the reason why Jimmy Garoppolo had a better record than them.
Right,
Jimmy can't compete with the horsepower that Trey Lance is showing.
Yeah, right. And you had to it was like that year was like the perfect storm for Jimmy. Like everything was perfect around him and all of that. And I love this notion of, he's a practice player. Like, or sorry, he's not a practice player. He's a gamer, right?
No, he's the same.
He's the same. And I want to bring this up because we always say, 2019 was his best year, okay? 2019 was his best year. Do you know in 2019 what his interception percentage is, the percentage of throws that were intercepted? Do you know what it is and where he ranks that year?
It's got to be close to 3.
Yeah, he had the 7th highest interception percentage in the league.
And again, he had like the lowest air yards average. He's throwing the shortest passes in the league and still getting picked because he's Jimmy.
Right. So like it doesn't he does the same thing in practice that he does on the field.
True.
He had the seventh lowest. Like the guys that were lower than him were Sam Darnold, Mason Rudolph, Kyle Allen, Phillip Rivers, Baker Mayfield, Jameis Winston. Basically, all the guys except for Phillip Rivers were all like basically rookies.
Yeah. I know. Double B Studio says, with Jimmy's value dropping, Kyle will blame you, Grant. Is it looking more likely a Jimmy and Trey for this year's campaign over a Trey Sudfeld? Is it too early for this question? Nah, I think the Niners, I mean, they're getting people like Mike Silver and Adam Schefter to say that Jimmy Garoppolo is having the best camp of their life. I don't understand why these guys would just pass along someone else's propaganda without going there and watching, but that's
their business. Mike Silver. He
was there one day, and I talked to him, and I told him, I was like, dude, I told you. I was like, this is what he looks like. And I hear you, man. John Lynch told you, and you feel good about that. You trust John Lynch over me. I wouldn't lie to you, Mike. John lied to you. I would not lie to you.
It's not even that. It's not even that. It's okay. So if you guys don't trust Grant's eyes, just go to other beat reporters. Like see what they're saying. They're saying the exact same thing as him.
Yeah.
The exact same thing.
Anthony C says, if Trey Lance is that dude, and we hope and think he is, then how do the Niners take advantage of his rookie contract? Who do they target in draft and free agency?
I mean, that's up in the air, right? Like there's things we're going to talk about now, like with the development of these rookies and all, like that's all going to then in free agency, like it does open up a lot of options as far as what you can do, because it gives you a lot of cash, open cash. Like you fill whatever hole you need in free agency, and then whatever you don't fill, you fill in the draft, and you could possibly take best available player if you're able to like fill all those holes up. That's what it kind of allows you to do.
That's right. Curtis says, Jimmy did not take us to the Super Bowl. He just hopped on for the ride like a San Francisco trolley car. I like the simile at the end. That was a good image. I can see that. Yeah, I think he kind of did.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever remember that TikTok of the impression of all the quarterbacks in the playoffs, and the impression of Jimmy Garoppolo was just him passing out water bottles. That was too accurate. Okay. Jamal says, it would be interesting to find out how many average at best quarterbacks have gone to a Super Bowl. Jimmy did, and he's definitely not the only one. Yeah.
You can look back like to see how many average quarterbacks went to Super Bowl. I mean, we're talking about remember guys, Jimmy went to the Super Bowl. He didn't win. He went to the Super Bowl. Like went there and lost. Like
yeah, that's true. He went. Gavin Brown said, Coach, is Ward cornerback depth insurance?
He could be, but it's like I don't know. I don't like robbing Peter to pay Paul. Like he's so good at free safety. Why do you want to move him there?
Yeah, they have him at corner in one-on-ones. Not even corner. They have him matching up with wide receivers in one-on-ones. Probably because it's too easy for him to cover tight ends and wide receivers, and running backs are trying to give him a bigger challenge. Like
the only way I would do that is if like some safety like stands out and is like, wow, this dude is so awesome. Like we gotta play him, and he can't cover one-on-one. We gotta play him, in the single high roll. He can't do anything else. Okay, played Ward at corner, but outside of that, like I don't want to move Ward around. We've seen that before. No, don't do that.
Nate says, does Shanahan releasing Kaepernick a dual threat and trading for Lance a dual threat speak volumes about how much more cerebral Lance is than Cap? That's part of it, probably. I think that it's documented that Lance is much more into like the playbook aspect of football. I think he's also more into the throwing mechanic aspect of football. Kaepernick was a hard worker and a good athlete too, but they're different. And also Kaepernick was way older by the time Shanahan got here. He wasn't exactly the young Kaepernick.
Wouldn't you just say, to summarize it as a whole, that Lance is just way more into football? Like it's more of a priority.
Yes,
it's just more of a priority for him.
Now we'll see how he responds to fame and money. Like what happened to Kaepernick was he was the backup, and then he played so well that stretch in 2012, and people went crazy. Like he was the biggest celebrity in the sport. Everyone said he was the best young quarterback in the game, and Ron Jaworski said he was going to be the best quarterback of all time. I don't think he ever really recovered from all of that fame at one. I don't think he was ready for it, and I don't think he ever handled it well. You never know how someone's going to respond to that, although it does look like Trey Lance is much more I don't know.
Grounded or
the
only thing that you could say is he did. Kaepernick was more. He's kind of buried at Nevada a little bit. Like nobody's real. I mean, not to say that everyone was tuning into ND State game, but he was out. Like I think Lance was a little bit out there. He played an undefeated team. He didn't throw an interception, so people more or less did really know about him. There was a Lance Heck dream.
True. Anderson says, will Kyle be on the hot seat if the 49ers miss the playoffs?
Yeah, except the caveat would be, how does Lance look? I think if Lance hits and he's amazing, I don't know that
if Lance hits amazing, they're not missing the playoffs. Let's be real clear. Let's be real clear.
Right.
Biz Bang Bang Niner Gang says, I say start the kid. He's set up to win with the Niners. Grant, you the man. I'm right there with you, man.
All true. All that true.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about Jimmy Garoppolo. I had Ace Ventura on my mind this morning. I don't know. I feel like I was watching. Here's how it was like. I was thinking about Ace Ventura, and I was thinking if they made that movie in 2021, they couldn't make it the same way because they really make fun of Ray Finkel for having mental health problems. I mean, that's a very sensitive issue in sports right now. Ray Finkel, if you don't remember his story, was the kicker on the fictional Dolphins team that lost the Super Bowl because he missed the kick wide left, and he blamed Dan Marino because they said the laces were in. They should have been out. Anyway, he was blamed for losing the Super Bowl, and he lost his mind, eventually had a sex change, became Lisa Einhorn, became the sheriff in Miami, also became a murderer, and pet detective had to solve the case. It's a very compelling movie, but I was thinking you could really redo the movie as a drama, like a very serious movie about, a football player who loses it after the worst moment of their life. And I was thinking, who is that story? It's like the non-funny story version is Jimmy. Jimmy is Ray Finkel.
Did you ever see those memes where they changed the NFL starting quarterbacks to women? And
I'm not saying Jimmy is Einhorn. Jimmy is not Einhorn. Jimmy is Finkel. Okay, Finkel had a very long descent into madness. Jimmy's not going to go there. But right now, Jimmy had a Finkel moment. Him missing Emmanuel Sanders deep in the Super Bowl was the equivalent of Ray Finkel shanking that field goal. You're blamed for the whole thing, and it follows you around your whole life, and it's like shame. And the reason I think Jimmy's never recovered from that one particular throw is when you've seen him throw deep since then, they've all been double clutched, underthrown, or not thrown at all. I can't remember him overthrowing a deep pass since then, and I see it in practice too. He won't cut it loose, or if he does, it's and then underthrown.
To me, I always thought that his deep ball regressed after the injury. Really, I mean, he wasn't. It
regressed, but now it's embarrassing. That's all I'm saying. Like he's like Chris Davis. You don't know Chris Davis. Chris Davis with the A's, the DH. If you ever seen him throw, he's got like a mental block. Like Jimmy has a mental block with the deep ball right now. That's what I'm saying. He used to be better. I don't think he can physically overthrow it anymore. Every time it's short. That's ridiculous. That's unreal. I think he's got a mental block. I think he's got mental scar tissue from that throw.
He might. To me, I always thought his deep ball issues started earlier than that.
He never had a good one.
I thought it's me. I think it's to me is me. I think because even at
I'm not giving him that. No, absolutely not. No, because no, I'm telling you, he has look for example. The week one, when he had Kendrick Bourne in the end zone and underthrew him, that's what his deep balls look like now. That is mental. Like that is it's an embarrassing deep ball. He didn't used to have an embarrassing deep ball. You know what I'm talking about? That throw to Kendrick Bourne week one? You remember that? That's what they look like.
Versus Arizona?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what they look like in camp. It's like, dude, used to be like, you should at least try. I mean, the one that he threw in New Orleans wasn't perfect, but it got there. Now he can't even get it there. It's quite discouraging. And no one's talking about it, but any team that trades for Jimmy, you might want to consider this. Go back and look at his deep throw since that throw. All of them.
Yeah, like they definitely have to consider. They definitely have to consider that you can't throw the deep ball. I mean, my thing with that's and even before that, like the Saints defense. They were playing cover one for a reason, right? Because
right,
they didn't.
Right.
So
that's been the book on him forever. I just feel like he's in his head about it now too. It's got.
That's probably it's probably been added in, but like, I mean, I think Jimmy. And I was thinking about this too, especially as regards to like, practice player versus game player. Like usually practice, that whole thing, it has to do with pressure and how players perform under pressure. Jimmy's always performed pretty well under pressure. The problem is it's like he'll throw a pick in the first quarter or he'll throw it with 3 seconds left. Like he's the same no matter what. But the problem is he throws the picks and he can't throw the deep ball, whether it's late game or early game. So like he's always done. I mean, even in this situation this is a really tough situation for a quarterback to be in as far as, with the amount of pressure that he's under. And I will say this about him. I think he is handling himself as a pro, off the field and saying all the right things and all of that.
But he's mentally broken. I think he's mentally broken. And I'm waiting every day. I'm waiting to see, like, will you cut it loose on the deep one today? Today, he didn't even throw one deep.
I mean, you can't say that. I think when he stayed after practice running and throwing the deep ball, I mean, that's pretty telling, right? Like, that shows, like, some confidence issues, right? Like,
this is something I know I need to work on.
Yeah.
So, Jimmy Garoppolo, Ray Finkel and Garoppolo. There's some carryover there. And I think maybe they really could remake Ace Ventura as like a compelling, sobering look at the stresses that these athletes face today. I mean, maybe Ray Finkel deserved more sympathy. Ray Finkel really got thrown under the bus. I mean, where were his teammates? I'm just saying.
He certainly wasn't getting $28 million.
No, he wasn't. Ray Finkel was misunderstood. Ray Finkel could have been saved. Where were his teammates? Double B Studio says, Grant, ask every player you interview, what's the go-to meal after a loss and after a win? I like that question. I'm not going to ask every single person, but I like that question. David says, secondary depth or Achilles heel this year. We'll get to that in a second. Opposing offenses will attack a weak link. Let's get to it right now, as a matter of fact.
You can't answer. What's the go-to meal after training camp?
Good question. I don't know.
For you?
For me? Yeah. Oh. This year they have packaged lunches for us. They used to bring us into the players' what is the word? Cafeteria, and we'd eat their food, and it was great. But this year, they have like Cobb salads and come on.
What is it? I think was it a bug that's like,
I don't know. It's like no, it just went out of focus. Cobb salads and turkey clubs. I'm a little. They decent. But no, we're going to talk about the quarterback depth in a minute. Just wait. We're just going to go through the questions. We're going to come back to that. Gammon says, from worst to best, please rank these quarterbacks' ability to go through progressions. Alex Smith, Nick Mullins, Cap, Lance, Jimmy G.
I haven't seen Lance live, so if you want to take it.
I actually think Lance is something he's really good at. Mullins is good at it too, but Mullins he throws as many picks as Jimmy. Mullins throws a lot of picks. Alex Smith, I thought, would pass up reads that were open and was too conservative. Kaepernick was a one-read quarterback, in my opinion. Jimmy Garoppolo is way too slow through the reads. I think one of the things that I like most about Lance is how efficiently he gets through his reads. You'll watch him. He's actually very good at this. I'm going to say Lance.
He was in college.
Yeah, I'm going to say Lance. I think he's the best. I know I didn't rank him. I'll say Lance, Smith, Mullins, Garoppolo, Kaepernick. That's how I'm going to put it.
It's looking like that his ability to protect the ball looks like it's a real ability, because right, that was the one thing you looked at in college, like, wow, he's a quarterback. He threw 20-something touchdowns and no picks. Like that's crazy. And here he is in practice through one pick, right?
Yeah, that's right. This is who he is. The Niner you love to hate. 510 says random rant. Kyle Shanahan doesn't like black people. Random rant. Kanye reference. LOL. I do think that when Kyle was a little upset about the Mac Jones thing, what he was feeling was, man, people think I'm racist. People think I don't like black quarterbacks. Like, how did I create this perception just because I like Kirk Cousins? I think there probably was a little bit to that. I think that's why he had such an edge. He's like, wait a second, yo, like you guys made me out to be something I'm not. Like, let me prove you wrong there. So good, a nice comment.
Shout out to Donda.
Shout out Donda. I'm not going to listen to that, though. Double B Studio says, I got my phone, tablet, and TV synced. My wife is scratching her head. I don't get it. You watching me on all three? I don't get it.
All three.
LJ says, for the Dollar Shave Club starter pack. My whole life is falling apart. I need to get a haircut. I should have got my haircut yesterday, but I streamed for 6 hours instead. I need to shave. Training camp is rough for your boy, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. But I'll clean up after. Don't worry. Mango says, why do some fans want to see Trey Lance fail? It's an interesting phenomenon, but there is a certain segment, maybe 1 in 4 Niner fans that are like just trying to pump the brakes on everything. They're like, well, he's against this and he's not that good. How can you be sure? It's like, you should be happy.
Yeah. You have a great rookie quarterback. This is great. Like he's all the deficiencies Jimmy Garoppolo has, this guy doesn't have. And it's like it's an emotional connection to Jimmy. It's like when you have a friend, whether it's a boyfriend or girlfriend, and they like that boyfriend or girlfriend isn't so great, and and you can see it, right? Like you're like, oh yeah, like he or she never wants to go out, they just want to sit at home and like just eat your food and all that, and you're trying to tell them like there's better out there for you. There's better out there, and they're like, no, but like he's so good with my dog and all that, and you're like, a lot of people are good with dogs, right?
Exactly. That's true. Yeah. Dogs like people.
Yeah, Jimmy's replaceable. Yeah. He's not amazing.
Good guy though. Let's talk Ambry Thomas. Ambry Thomas didn't play well in OTAs, and I thought struggled a little bit early on in camp, but he didn't play football last year. He's a rookie. You shouldn't write off rookies in the first week of camp. I've learned that throughout the years. It took me a long time to figure it out, but he's been playing. Now I've realized that he really hasn't given up a catch in 11 on 11s in quite some time. I can't remember the last time. Days. And today they did one-on-ones, and I was right in front of the cornerbacks and wide receivers, and I happened to notice that he won all 3 times, twice against Debo. He looks like he's figuring it out, and I do notice that he's 6 feet tall with very long arms, and he's fast, and he's all over Debo. When it's him against Debo, it's a tough matchup for Debo because Debo doesn't have long arms. And so Debo has to really juke Ambry Thomas out of his jockstrap and create some separation, and that's hard to do against Ambry Thomas right now.
Yeah, I really liked what I saw on him. When we went over his film, and I know he had some problems with the receiver on Pittsburgh. I forgot his name, but he had some problems with
Chase
him.
Claypool, yeah.
Chase Claypool,
but that guy's
name. Yeah, he's
really good.
He's and I thought maybe it was a big receiver problem, but he was really good at the in-breaking routes, which are the tougher routes to cover. He had nice fluid hips. Like he's not a supreme athlete, but he's a good athlete. I liked what I saw from him. So like when the early reports come out, he was struggling a little bit. I mean, it's early in camp.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see that he's coming along.
What I'm seeing from him is like, I think he would have gone higher in the draft had he played last year.
Probably.
He's a good athlete. They got him 103. He probably would have went in the 80s had he played last year, maybe higher. And you can get starting cornerbacks in the mid 3rd round. They might have got a value.
Yeah, if they hit on Lance, they missed on Banks, and they hit on Sermon, they hit on this kid. That's a good draft.
That's a really good draft. It's possible that they did miss on Banks. I've been waiting to see something good from him, and I haven't seen it yet. But I also want to be patient with him the way I've been patient with Ambry Thomas. It's just 1 week into camp.
Yeah.
But I've been looking very closely at Banks, and I haven't seen anything to get excited about. Daniel Brunskill got the first shot at right guard. They didn't like it, and now it's Colton McKivitz. And I was watching Banks get coached by the offensive line coach or the assistant offensive line coach, and every time he did the rep, the guy had a problem with what he did, whether it was a foot or an arm. I don't understand offensive line technique, but every single time he did something, the guy had a problem and had to be and was cursing. I mean, maybe that's how offensive line, but a lot of F words, and it's like, damn, like I know there's a lot of pressure, Aaron, but they didn't seem, at least that guy didn't seem like he's doing it right.
Yeah.
So keep in mind that. I'll watch. There weren't one-on-ones today. I'll be watching. I want to see him go against Javon Kinlaw, but Kinlaw hasn't done one-on-ones yet. Pissing me off.
If it keeps trending the way it does, I mean, it's more important, right, that Lance is good and that Ambry Thomas is good, right? Right? Like if Banks isn't
He's a
good,
guard.
that's okay, right?
Not a premium position.
But could they use some interior depth? Yeah, they could, but
Yeah.
it's not like they don't need it right now. They need corners.
Yeah.
So
this is more good news though. Ambry Thomas looks like he could be. I mean, Emmanuel Mosley's solid, but Ambry Thomas looks like he could be good. Locked up Debo Samuel today. That's a good start. That's a good starting a good starting wide receiver in the NFL. So he must feel good about himself.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how long they play him in the preseason game. If they really put him out there and just let him rock and see what he does.
Robert says I should keep the beard and shave the head.
No, don't shave the head.
Nah, not
What's he gonna shave the head for?
Yeah, I don't think so. As big as Banks, like you shave the head if you're going bald. My friend, one of my best friend Nico was going bald in high school, so we shaved. But if you aren't going bald and you shave your head, I feel like that's kind of weird.
Yeah, no,
that's kind of weird. I don't know. Like, what are you going for? Why? Yeah. Kenneth says, as big as Banks, he still looks like a kid to me. Agree. Yeah. I totally agree with that. Yeah, he doesn't look like a vet yet. There's just he will. I don't know. He looks like, I don't want to say Josh Garnett. I don't want to say that.
Yeah,
they just wear the same number. And it's like, couldn't you give him another number? He should retire at 65, man. No, it's like how at hotels they don't give a 13th floor. It's like no one wants that. Yeah, no one wants a 65.
Give it to a defensive lineman or something.
All right, move on. Are we sure Nick Bosa is gonna play week 1? I don't know. Maybe it's my fault for not asking the question, but he's not getting more work in practice. His practice is stretch, warm up with the defensive lineman, practice the little techniques on the bag, and then keep doing that while everyone else does the real practice. And meanwhile, other people, like usually people get a little bit more every practice, a little bit more. It seems like the Niners are being very, very cautious. And then I'm hearing that you got Saquon Barkley most likely not coming back till week 3 because that'll be a full year out since he tore his ACL. And I'm thinking, is that what's happening here? I mean, Bosa also messed up his meniscus. I mean, it wasn't just his ACL. It was a fairly serious knee surgery. Over under. Not over under. Do you think he plays week 1?
I think so. I think that the Niners do have a playbook for Nick Bosa, and I think you can get it from the guy that's on your roster and D Ford, right? So D Ford was with the Chiefs, didn't really practice. They just kind of like ushered him out in games and let him do his thing. And I think if if Bosa is having these type injuries, that's what you do with him. And then if he keeps having these problems, when it comes time, you give him that franchise tag, and then you find a nice other team to take him off, and then you go trade for another pass rusher.
Was that a line from Don't Be a Menace? I think it was. Anyway, look, it's possible that the Niners are being very cautious with Nick Bosa. And it's possible they're doing with him what the Chiefs did with D Ford. Let me say why I'm a little skeptical, though. The Niners have never acted that way. These Niners. They're very big on culture and, all that kind of stuff. And D Ford is out there practicing, doing 11 on 11s, even though he just missed a full year with a very mysterious, spine injury. So if they want D Ford to go out and prove it in practice with all that's at stake for him, I gotta wonder if there's another reason that Nick Bosa isn't back yet. Maybe he's just a little further off than we realize. And when I say further off, I'm saying like Barkley, like week 2 or week 3 instead of week 1. Not like he's not going to play this year. I don't think I just think maybe the timeline is a little different than we think.
It might. It's certainly this is a team that changes their timeline all the time,
and they don't exactly share it.
Yeah, no, like, I'll be back tomorrow, and then
change, guys. You got to know it changed. He had a setback. It's going to come back week 2. We just want to let you guys. We want you guys to be the first to know because we want to have a nice little rapport. That's the most important thing is that we trust each other.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, he's got a cold, and then the next day you find out he's got COVID.
That's kind of how NFL teams. It's nothing. We're being smart. He's out for the year.
Yeah.
Oh, that really escalated. Yeah. Well, we lied. Sorry. We expected it.
He's working through it.
Yeah. Lawless Light says, I keep hearing good things about Tavon Wilson. What are your thoughts? I hope he doesn't have to start more than one game. They knew they need Jaquiski Tart. He's been in the league a long time. I love these reports of like 30-year-old or again with the thing.
What's up with that?
I love these reports of like that sucks. What's going on here?
It's the 30% they're hacking you, man.
Man, that's so frustrating.
What is
work?
What is going on there? There you go.
Okay, that works. There it is. Okay,
right.
Tavon Wilson, him, Mohamed Sanu. What other like 7-year vet that we've seen forever is like a totally new person this year? Nah.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
It doesn't work that way. He's serviceable, and maybe he could get him through a few games, but they need Jaquiski Tart back. ASAPless.
It's on my to-do list to check out some old film of Wilson. But like when you look at what he's done in his career, he started games, but he started games as a backup. Like he never took a starting job from anybody. So yeah, I don't think he's going to turn into some miraculous, awesome free safety or star safety.
Anthony Estrada says Jimmy's starting because when he plays, they win, and when he doesn't, they lose. Trey will get his first start against the first tough defense, which is I don't follow your premise at all there, Anthony. He's Detroit. 5-4 in his last 9 starts. I don't see this whole magical winning formula. I think Trey's going to win.
I think so too.
But I appreciate your donation, Anthony. The whole when they win with him and so you're telling me that there's something special about Jimmy Garoppolo that makes him that he has got like the winning sauce, and that even though Trey Lance is bigger, faster, smarter, better in every single way, he's just not gonna. He doesn't know how to win. He doesn't have that winning gene. I seriously disagree with that.
Even though I think Trey Lance I'd have to look at his high school career, but I think that he probably has maybe lost 2 games in like his last 8 years or 6 years of football. He didn't lose at NC State, right? So
probably didn't lose much in high school.
From what I understand is his high school was very good. Like part of the reasons he didn't get recruited is because they were just wiping teams by the half. So yeah.
Definitely. Robert says, who's been the biggest surprise and disappointment in camp? Love the Ace Ventura and Don't Be a Menace references. The biggest disappointment for me so far has been Rosen. I really, really thought that he was going to be locked in, good situation, knowing the offense, tearing it up. No, so far he looks like the same person who's disappointed 3 franchises. Rosen, biggest surprise? I don't know.
Ford?
Yeah, that's the right answer. And in fact, we should talk about him like right now. Hold on. Trey Niner says off topic, but I haven't heard anyone mention this comparison. And I think they have similarities. Trey equals Steve Young. Do you see similarities? Yeah, he's got such a more powerful arm than Steve Young, and Steve Young was extremely accurate. I think their arms are a little different, but in terms of build, I can see that. And in terms of maybe like throwing motion, they're a little different as passers. They're a little different. Steve Young is a top 10 quarterback of all time. I'm not going to go there with Trey Lance yet.
Yeah. Steve Young probably is banging his head against the wall with what quarterbacks are doing nowadays. Yeah. They're allowed to do he
would have been so good in this era.
And next time you're on with your father, ask him if he thinks Walsh would have implemented like some sort of option or like that. It'd be interesting to see.
Like, yeah, I will.
Would he have done it?
All right, last topic, and then it's Friday night for all of us. D Ford. So we just readjusted our expectations for Nick Bosa. It's possible if he does play week 1, maybe it's on a pitch count, considering he's done nothing this offseason. D Ford, on the other hand, does a little more every day. He started off with Nick Bosa warming up and doing nothing. Quickly, he graduated to 11 on 11s, and that's where he stands now. He does some physical competition every day where he goes full bore into Mike McGlinchey, and whatever happens, happens. And this is a guy who had a messed up neck, spine, serious stuff. And they're saying, you know what? He's free to go. God love him. Go play. And they're letting him go. So far, no setbacks. No days, no maintenance days. He's just doing really well. And, he's recording like a sack a day. Now, he is going against Mike McGlinchey, who's not exactly, a left tackle. I'm just saying he's a run blocker. So it doesn't mean he's the old D Ford, but this is all very good news. Does this make you readjust your expectations? Or are you still kind of hesitant, want to see if he can stay healthy through a full season?
I mean, they're starting to go up like slowly. Like D Ford, like I didn't even expect him to do any of this. Like I expect him to be like jogging on the sideline, pretty much the whole camp. Like as each day progresses, and I see a report from you, he's on the field and he's practicing, and he's having physical contact. Yeah, it's starting to raise my expectations. And if they can get these guys all on the field at the same time, like I don't. It's going to be a different defensive line than the 2019 one, but it's going to be a really good one. I mean, if they can get Ebukam and Bosa and Ford and those guys all healthy, like they weren't 3 deep at defensive end in 2019. They were 2 deep. So that's going to be.
They were 3 deep when they had Ronald Blair and they lost him, and he was important.
Yeah, but even Ronald Blair, like he's not going to. He wasn't the athlete that Ebukam and Ford are.
That's true.
So I think that that they give them a different speed element that they can put on both sides. I mean, if all those guys are healthy, they can even put Bosa on the inside and put those 2 other guys outside, and then put whoever the hell you want on the other inside spot.
I do want to say real quick, they've been using 3 defensive end packages on 3rd down a lot in camp. I know I probably shouldn't say that, but I'm sorry. It's basic, but of course they would do something like that. But today they did it with they had Jordan Willis at defensive tackle, and I think the defensive ends were Arden Key and someone else. But Samson Ebukam didn't practice again today. I didn't write that down, but Samson Ebukam hasn't been around the last week. Nick Bosa going slow. D Ford is going to be the Iron Man in this room. He just might have a really good year. I'm curious about the other guys at this spot. Where the hell is Samson Ebukam, and why won't they say what's going on?
It's funny. He comes over from the Rams, right? And like he's got this clean bill of health, and we're like, oh yeah, the Rams are like they're the healthiest team. And then as soon as he comes to the Niners, like as soon as he comes, like. No.
Vague general soreness out for a week. Like, what? Anyway.
Did they get D Forded again? Like, did the Rams not resign him because they had an issue? And then the Niners were like, yeah, we'll give him $10 million. No problem.
Every time the team tells me it's nothing, we're being smart, I'm thinking it's bad. It's real bad. It's so bad. So we'll see. I don't know. They're not going to tell me. Samson Ebukam's been gone. Let's see if he's back tomorrow. I have a feeling he won't be. Let's see. Biggest surprise for me is Trey thought he would struggle more. Fair. Richard G says, I mean, I didn't think he'd be this good. He's completing 78% of his throws the last 4 days. I've never seen anyone do that in an NFL camp. I'm sure Mahomes has done. I'm sure there are quarterbacks who do stuff like that. I just haven't covered it in the last 10 years.
You're going. They're doing a joint practice with the Chargers, right?
Yeah, I'm going for that. That'll be fun.
Okay, that'll be fun too, and it'll be fun to talk to the Chargers guys and see what did you guys see last year with Herbert? Like, were you guys losing your minds with their coaching staff like last year because you saw it in practice, or like?
What are we waiting for? Yeah. Richard G says Trey is leaps and bounds better than the old backup, so the Jimmy winning conversation could be null and void. Yeah, exactly. You're really comparing Trey Lance to CJ Beathard at that point. Alex says, thanks for the great coverage. Best on the web. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thanks for that 5.99.
Yeah.
And then,
so today I was filming my post-practice breakdown in my little spot in front of the Levi's. And like hella people driving by, walking by, were like, yo, watch you on YouTube, man. Yeah, man. That's so sick. Life is so rad. I thought it was great. Anyway, thank you for all the people who said hello today.
Yeah, wait till you travel and you see if anyone notices
Never
you.
Gonna happen. Not going to happen. Trey says, let's hold off on the D Ford train he's going up against. Oof. Let's see D Ford against Trent. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Was it getting sacks is like breathing for D4 when he goes against.
I gotta put a little sass. Into the not so good. Oh, all right, man. Well, thanks for coming on late on a Friday night with me. I appreciate it, man.
No doubt, man. No doubt. I think Team USA is playing for gold tonight. I believe. I think it's started at 10:30. So everyone.
You talking basketball?
I believe so. Yeah.
Tonight?
I think it's tonight. Everyone, is it tonight? Is it tonight or tomorrow night?
All right, I'm gonna watch that. Dr. Robert Anthony Jr. gives me $5 out of the kindness of his heart. I really appreciate it.
We love doctors.
Yeah, you're the best. You're the best doctor I know. Thank you. Oh wait, see this always happens. Matthew says, "What are the expectations on quarterback reps for August 14th versus the Chiefs?" Think about getting ticked. Sidebar Grant, what's going on with the wristwatch drip these days? This was a gift.
On that drip.
This was a gift. This is a Tissot though. Tissot is the official watch of the NBA, and Kia is the official car of the NBA. So basically, I play for the Nuggets. Is what you need to know. Me and Master.
Nice. So they did confirm it is tonight, 7:30 for you, 10:30 for me.
Yeah, that's what's up.
And we're playing the Frenchies. Go US. So I don't know. If you look back at, I think because I checked, I was curious how many reps did they give the Chiefs when Mahomes get with the Chiefs his first time? I think about a quarter, and then they put the backups in. I mean, so that would be my expectation. I would like to see more than that, but probably.
I'm thinking they do like a little Garoppolo, like 2 series. They're gonna try to get Garoppolo like 7 for 7 or 8 for 8. And then they'll say, he's our starter. We got to get him out. And they're going to play a lot of Lance. So he'll get like half the first quarter and the second quarter. And then maybe they'll stop him at halftime and they'll bring in Rosen to tear it up in the third quarter, something like that.
I hope so. But
they got to get Jimmy in and out fast with a bunch of completions, quick ones, no deep throws, nothing like that.
I almost think that they might bring in those other guys even before that, because I almost think that like they kind of know that Lance is their guy. I just want to see they'll see about a quarter of them, and then we got to figure out what the hell is going to go on with our backup once we trade or get rid of Jimmy.
Yes. Curtis says, "Hey Grant, are you Jason Aponte, Jack Cameron going to do a live stream while watching the first preseason game?" I am not going to do that. I focus and I don't talk when I watch football games. No, maybe they will. They could do that, but I have to cover the team for Sports Illustrated.
You're going to be there, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to be there. So
he's there taking notes.
Yeah, I'm in the press box. You can't do that. But maybe they would. I mean, someone should do it because I feel like people would watch it. Anyway, the show is over. Go have a great night. I'm going to stop doing this because it really messes up the camera. Thank you so much to everyone who watched. I'll be back tomorrow. They got practice tomorrow. It's in Levi's. It'll be interesting.
Alrighty then.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, man.